What forges commitment? In America's Navy, you'll think about quitting. From the drills, the aches, the cold. But shipmates face every challenge as one. Every push to the edge. Every call to defend. Because out here, we're part of something bigger. A force that never quits. The sea forges commitment in every sailor. America's Navy, forged by the sea. Discover commitment at Navy.com.
Hi there, I am Adam Kirbas. This is another episode of my podcast. We are still in the pandemic. It is a cloudy day here in Ordu in the Black Sea region in Turkey. I hope that you all go through this pandemic as well as through these floods and fires and everything which we are plagued with right now, that you somehow can overcome this and can go through it, survive it, because I think in our time all is about survival. However, we will continue where we left off the last time. We talked about how to create tension, and this is of course, this had to do with my screenwritings, with my screenplays Lettuce, Invert and Lifesaver, and I talked about the process about writing, and then of course one major issue is and was there is how you can make or create tension, because this is very important. You want to some sort of grab the viewers, grab the attention, and then I compared the evolution of crime or crime TV shows like Columbo, which was back in the 80s, 90s, very popular, and then of course with the beginning of CSI, where you actually do not know who the murder is, but some sort of through scientific analysis you more and more become or follow those crime investigators, and then finally you reach a conclusion, a result. Of course, if you only watch CSI and so on, then it is not really interesting who did it. I mean, even the motive is pretty much in the background. If you only watch CSI, it is really about how you can kill someone, or in a way how was crime committed, whereas if you only compare this to Columbo, and in the past this was way more subjective. There you had a clear connection between the person who committed the crime and what crime was committed, and then through Columbo then you try to find out why, or especially the motive. This is very important. So why did something, and this was of course created through tension as well. I mean, as well as we talked about horror movies. I mean, if you only watch some horror movies like Scream or Jason or whatever. I mean, again, I did not watch a lot of horror movies. Well, I don't like the genre and so on, but one thing, of course, is in horror movies that you are in a constant threat, so you some sort of feel this threat, or this threat is pretty much vivid, especially in Scream, in the first movie of this trilogy. There in the first movie, then you see, I mean, the murderer with these masks. He could be everywhere. He could be in your home, and mostly he he's in your home, or mostly all those people are being attacked in their homes and so on. So this has another edge of thrill, because this is your home. This is your place where you actually should feel yourself secured, and then murders on the loose. You could be next behind every corner. Someone is waiting, and so this again. If you watch it, this some sort of is tension, and builds up tension, and of course, and this is how we can, and this is especially in horror movies, where you some sort of take away information, show less information. This is what we talked about in Jaws. In Jaws with Steven Spielberg and so on. So you do not see the monster very often, but you somehow anticipated. You think this monster is around, and this then really fills you with fear, with dread, and so on. So knowledge is a big issue, and as well as in horror movies, I mean, you pretty much ask yourself later why this is happening and so on, but rather that you are being hunted, that you are being pursued and so on, and you don't have much information. So it is the holding back of information which then creates tension, excitement, thrill, and you can see this as well as in other TV shows as well. So for even in TV shows which might not have something to do with crime or with horror, but this withholding of information, you don't know what's gonna happen or what will happen. This is actually one key ingredient or to create tension. Of course, it is not very easy to create tension, because everyone says, but one thing, and this is what I talked about the last time as well, I mean, this is pretty much of structure, especially in the crime genre. There is a lot of stuff which has been already written about crime. So I mean, if you want to see, this is almost libraries, not almost, but for a fact, you can fill libraries with all these crime novels. So there is a lot of stuff. So, and in this area, pretty much probably it will be very difficult to create new one and so on. But however, I mean, you can always be ingenious. But one thing, of course, is that you, in a way, can create tension, which is not expected in that way. This is, for example, in Game of Thrones. This was fantasy, and there you could see, I mean, all those peoples died, and you somehow did not expect it, that you thought everything would be fine and so on, and this made pretty much the excitement and thrill of this series as well. So that things are not unexpected, and this of course depends a lot with structure, depends a lot from how you approach these things and so on, of course. And this is what we will talk about today. Is, of course, I mean, if you write about something, if someone watches this, I mean, this is what you always feel. If you read a book, if you watch a movie, you somehow sort of, in a way, always feel compassion, and you could say for this character, or you could say that you have interest in this character. For example, I mean, we talked about Bruce Wayne. I mean, Bruce Wayne, he's very wealthy, and in our time where wealthy people have a very bad reputation, you would rather assume that people would not feel compassion for Bruce Wayne. I mean, his his struggles and so on. But then you see, okay, he lost his parents, he lost everything, he lost the balance of his life. He seeks meaning, and this is where you then more and more realize and understand, yeah, okay, this is someone I can associate with, this is someone I can live with, and so on. This is as well as you see this in Game of Thrones with the characters of Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen. I mean, with Jon Snow, I mean, he's this bastard. He's not loved by his foster mother and his father. I mean, of course, spoiler alert. Later we realize and know that Jon Snow is a Targaryen and so on. However, but in the beginning we don't know this, and then he some sort of abandons life and joins the Night Watch. We somehow did not assume it. Or he has all his life, and ahead of him he's not part of him, so he's not really part of the family. He's a bastard, he's an outcast, and this then leads to, in a way that we feel compassion for him, despite the fact that, not despite the fact, but he's just not a part of it, and so we in a way associate with him, and this is especially in our time where this it is partially as well as a very mood among teenagers, but as well as in our time where people think they are outcasted, where people think that they cannot belong and so on, and things become even more vile, if you want, because it is not his own doing. So Jon Snow, he does not or he doesn't know anything about it as well as he did not choose this life. So this is one thing, we can have some sort of compassion for someone. The same is for Daenerys Targaryen as well. I mean, she's this woman, this former glory. She's always partly divine. This is all what this is all about being divine, being regal. However, she's been sold off by her evil brother, who doesn't really take care about her, or like a normal brother should be. And then she's sold off, and then her husband and love, with whom she some sort of rediscovers life, then he dies, falls off the horse, then he's been bewitched, he loses her child. This is all those tragedies which makes someone human, and then you somehow can feel compassion for this person, for his plight and so on. So, and this is especially with people who don't seem to be fortunate, with people who don't really have everything at all. I mean, this is what you can witness at Game of Thrones as well, with some characters you don't feel compassion at all, but this is of course all on purpose, because you should rather feel a compassion and love for those characters who are pretty much, if you want, stemming the narration, who are very important for the plot line. So and especially in Game of Thrones, you always see those two extremes in a way, with Jon Snow up in the north, and with Daenerys, then she is somewhere in the desert. She struggles to survive. I mean, she has a family. She rediscovers a family, but then she loses all. But and then Jon Snow on the wall. She's some sort of is a brother of the Night Watch, and he makes new family with these people with whom he's around, and so on. This further contributes then to some sort of creating a new family, a new belonging, and so on. This is you can see those two arcs at Game of Thrones very well, so that they some sort of are being thrown out of the old families. Daenerys and Jon Snow, they are thrown out of the old families. That they are not part of the old families. I mean, the Targaryen or the Targaryens, they were destroyed, or were many of them were killed and so on. I mean, I assume that you all have seen Game of Thrones or have read the books. However, and in this climate, you have a lot of similarities between Jon Snow and Daenerys, so that they have some sort of create a new family. They have new brothers and so on, and we then feel compassion for these people, because if you have to see the normal average teenager, but this is what you feel as well in your youth. You are some sort of, or in your youth, or if you come in puberty, you some sort of leave your own family, and then with friends, with new people and so on, you have a new family, you grow in this new family. This is some sort of, you can recognize in Game of Thrones, which is a part of the hero's journey. This is what you find almost in all hero journeys. So this new family, this is, as well as you find this in Harry Potter. He lives there under the stairs, and we have a lot of compassion for him, because he is this celebrity. This always swings with it. So this divinity, Jon Snow, he's a bastard, and later we know that he's even a Targaryen, as well as then Daenerys. He's the last excuse me, she's the last Targaryen, and so on. So they are always part of divinity, what makes people special. So and this is what you see then as well as in Harry Potter. So he has all these evil people who don't know or who don't want this boy's well-being, who has to live under the stairs, and he's been taken advantage of, and so on and so on. However, and this all makes us feel compassion for these people. I mean, of course, this is some sort of a narcissistic feeling you have. I mean, we talked about it a little bit. I mean, how you feel about an artistic term and so on, or that you do not get enough attention. However, but if you write well, let's put it that way, why is this important? I mean, am I talking about this? Well, it is important in that sense. If you write a screenplay, especially ensemble screenplay, this ensemble means with a lot of people in this series, in this series. Let's think about Grey's Anatomy, or in that back in the days, this Star Trek, especially Star Trek, beginning with the original series. There was always an attempt, if you only see the screw. I mean, this is Lieutenant Uhura, this is O'Brien, this is Pille, and so on. If you see, so the cause or the attention of this movie was always to reach a broader base in the society. I mean, you want to reach the black people, especially then female black people, or a female black woman who has some sort of in a way masculine with short hairs, and she has a beautiful body, big boobs, and so this has something mystical on her. So this is this female black woman who gets is being acknowledged by white people as well as black people. Then you have, this is especially true for North America, in the US, where there is a very high Irish population. So you somehow want to bring in this Irish population as well. Then of course, if you can Scottish, and in recent years increasingly Latinos and Hindus. So you want to have some sort of a broad basis. This is what's meant with ensemble cast or TV shows, and these are very successful. I mean, if you only watch Grey's Anatomy and so on, I mean, and these some sort of barriers in the society you have. Maybe we say it too much if we say barriers, but these some sort of cultural borders in a society between, I mean, in North America, between Irish, between Italo-Americans, between Catholics and Protestants, between Latinos and whites, and so on, and then of course black people, and so on. These cultural borders, they play a crucial role in the society in the US as well as in continental Europe. And then of course you try to reach these different social groups, so with their man or with someone to whom they can talk about, and so on. So this is something you always see, especially in American movies, that they want to fulfill a quota, or that they work towards a quota, and so on. So I want to reach appeal among a certain group, and so on. And one of these groups which you want to have appeal on, this is of course the middle class in general. So if you make a movie, if you write a movie script whatsoever, even though if you, and especially if you like me grew up poor, it may be sociologically interesting that you write about what life is as a Turkish migrant with modest means. But however, this is always difficult to sell. And there you see now in Game of Thrones, and this is what you see in many hero arcs as well as this hero journey. And this is that the hero, becomes or comes into age. And this into age coming, you see in Game of Thrones with Jon Snow and Daenerys, and this is symbolically that you use, or that you leave your family and then have a new family, have a new friends, and so on. This is where you go outside in to the world, and this has of course a lot of appeal especially among younger audiences. So this is one of the reasons why, for example, Emily Clark, or the person or the actress who plays Daenerys, as well as Kit Harington, the actor who plays Jon Snow, they have a lot of appeal among younger audiences, and so on. I mean, and they're in contrast. You see, for example, in the series, Ned Stark with this over emphasis on honor, on duty, on right and wrong. This is how this person speaks to a different audience. This person speaks to people who believe in a world that is just, that is right. This is rather, you would say, religious, because if you know a little bit of the Game of Thrones, then you of course know that then of course you know that Ned Stark decided against peace. I mean, this is what you see. I mean, Ned Stark, or if you want, we can give us brief summary what I'm talking about. This is that the king, or the king dies through a hunting accident. Then it turns out that the three children of the king, that they are not his true or real kings, or real children, and because they are not his real children, this would then mean that they would not have a right for the Iron Throne. However, but Ned some sort of follows his duty, and then he declares that someone else would be in line for the throne, for the Iron Throne, but yet his advisors some sort of try to dissuade him, because this other person would bring most certainly war and would wreak havoc and so on. So this other person is in a way something like Ned, all overly right, emphasizing on honor, on duty and so on. So this is, you would have to say that Ned in Game of Thrones represents some sort of a religious authority. So no matter what, no matter where and so on, we always do the right thing. And then you see, in a way, this is what Game of Thrones, in a way, proves it. And this is as well as what makes it so interesting and which creates tension. And this is that the doing the right thing does not save you, it does not protect you. And Ned later dies, and it comes to war anyway, so he cannot prevent it. Or if you want, the irony of this issue is that, or the irony of it is that Ned, who did the right thing was as well as responsible for this war, but not because he did the rightful choice, but that he died, and that this was unjust, or this was over exaggerated, and so on. So this is what you can see as well as, and however, then if we were talk about all those series as well, if you want to grab people's attention, then of course you have to write about some stuff, or that you want to have appeal on this people, and or try to speak to their mind. This is what ensemble or others as ensemble shows and so on all have in common, because in a show, a history, or this is what people actually never really know, that a story you tell, it is not only about entertainment, because if you want to be entertained, you can as well as just listen at YouTube to jokes or something at Comedy Central or somewhere. But stories have always some sort of a meaning to you. They give you an understanding about your worldview, where you are, what you are, and so on. So that a story, if you tell a story, it should be always about meaningful, about your life struggle, and this life struggle you can always share with others as well. This is if we talked about Jon Snow joining the Night Watch, of course, everyone can some sort of relate to that. I mean, this does not mean that you are not wanted in your family or whatever, but mostly if you grew up in a home, there is a generational rift. This is especially my generation with the rise of the internet. So there is a huge gap to the previous generation, and because of this, you feel this rift, this generational rift is way more vivid. It is way more fathomable, and so on, and this is the reason why these things and so on, where we can relate to it. I mean, you don't feel at home anymore, and of course this is what you feel as well if you watch Jon Snow, or if you watch Game of Thrones. I mean, this is of course the thriller or the excitement. This is adventure. All this war breaks out. Jon Snow wants to join his father, wants to do duty, and wants to do the right thing. But again, he is some sort of part of the Night Watch. He's part of this new family, and they have their own worries, but their excitement. So his willingness for adventure is some sort of stifled, and this again grabs our attention because we are young. We were, those people who associate with this character, they are young, they want to accomplish something, and so on and so forth, and then they want to go on adventure. Cover the world, so this is what this arc is all about, and this goes on, and this has a huge and then of course an impact on how you perceive the world, and then this willness, this is what you see in Harry Potter as well. So you want to break out school. School is not about what we might think that it is boring, and so no, it is about adventure. It is about experiencing new things with your friends, with your family, and so with this new family. This is what you want. So this is what you want to experience, and this is what you want to strive for, and this is what people associate. So emotions. I mean, this is what we can say. So that if you want to create a character for screenplay and so on, so you always have to appeal on the emotions of those people who are watching this, what they are going through. I mean, this is what you see very greatly in Game of Thrones, as well as in Breaking Bad. I mean, this Walter White. I mean, again, Breaking Bad is I mean, you have to be aware of one thing, and this is, I mean, if you want to have success, especially with a TV show, and I mean success, broader success, and so on, then of course you always have to some sort of target younger audience, and younger audience, this would be those people between 15 and 25. So these are those people who would spend, for example, a lot of money and on kino, on cinema, and so on. But of course, this has all changed. However, with Breaking Bad, this is of course different, because Breaking Bad is a family father. This is a person who has lived, if you want, who has lived, but who did not accomplish it. He did not live up his dream. This is something you would not, some sort of a young person would not associate with this, because you in your youth still think that your life is ahead of you. So you, in that sense, you would immediately notice that Breaking Bad, this is a topic about older audiences and so on, and of course there you have, even though it is amazing, I mean, if you watch Breaking Bad, I mean, these mental processes this man goes through, I mean, this is what you will later experience in your life as well. I mean, you had plans, you were in your youth. This is what as well as you see with Walter White. Walter White was in his youth this promising young young chemist, and he was supposed to accomplish a lot, but then he did not accomplish, and even cleans the cars. And he cleans the cars of his students, or the car of his students, and so on. So this is a big issue, and this is some sort of disappointment with your life. I mean, if you want emotion, so what is if in order to explain this thoroughly, I mean, if we some sort of approach screenwriting through emotions, and what are the key emotions, or what can we do, some sort of key emotions, and then you see in Breaking Bad, this is some sort of disappointment with your life. You did not accomplish anything, and this is then the catalyst which then starts anything, which starts new things and so on. So this is something as well as you can always create conflict, or easily conflict. I mean, if we come back to Game of Thrones, Ned Stark's belief of honor and truth and to do the right thing was true. I mean, he's from the north. Ned Stark is from the north. He has, in the north, people are some sort of simplest, so down to earth. This is how you are always present yourselves, and then if you go into the city, so this is this typical land country. We talked a little bit about this. So this typical land to country in the nature in north, it is cold and stark and so on. The climate there makes you robust, sturdy, stout, and so on. But yet you are steadfast. You are steadfast and are adamant. You have principles. You have some things you believe in, and this is in a way honor your duty, and to do the right thing. You have a strong belief in the good and right, and this, of course, then creates conflict in a world, especially when Ned comes to King's Landing, in a world where you are reigned, where those things do not really MS something, because to do the right thing, this is what was told Ned by little Finger and Varys and so on. So to do the right thing would mean that you risk war, and who cares, and so on. So this is something which always swings with it. And then later his son Rob, who becomes then a king in the north, he actually does not do the right thing, despite the fact that he promised to marry this man's daughter. He does not do that. So this is then some sort of reverse, because he didn't do the right thing. This man then was susceptible for treason. Treason, and this again shows that in the north and so on, that this moral values, that you cannot some sort of avoid moral values. You cannot just move away from them. Either you commit fully to them, and then, like Ned did, die for them, or if you not fully commit to them like Rob, then you would fall through, then people will betray you, and so on. So this emotion, we talked about emotion, and if you some sort of build your writing on emotions, I mean, this is of course easier said than done, because what is emotions? I mean, emotions are a lot of things. This is almost a sea of words, sea of feelings, sea of expressions. However, but this is of course true as well. And but if you lived through your sphere, I mean, if you think about your life or how you grew up, I mean, this always, you had a feeling something. I mean, in your youth, you had, of course, this is why these adventure novels always work so good with young people, especially with 15 plus, because they're in the US, this is rather astonishing. You are allowed to drive a car with 15, but only are allowed to drink call, I think, with 20 or 21. Well, in continental Europe, it's rather the other way around. However, and there, because you have a new car and so on, of course, there's of adventure. You want to see the world and so on, and you want this feeling, this emotion to go out, to see new, see adventure. This is something then which is always mirrored in those TV shows as well as in books and so on. This is something you see partially in Lord of the Rings, so this adventure that they are protectors of the ring, that they some sort of receive this calling, this is some sort of some mystical calling, but as well as in many recent TV shows, especially TV shows meant for younger audiences, then you see always, especially TV shows, when I talked about it as well as who play always up around the high school, some sort, in a way you never grew up, but or some sort of these high school shows always emulate this. You have a hard time growing up, you're always trapped in it and so on and there. But yet still you think your whole life is ahead of you. So this is a way different emotion. This is an emotion of a new dawn, of a beginning, of excitement, of still life and joy. And to that in grows opposite. You have an emotion like in Breaking Bad. This is someone who did not accomplish anything at all. Or if you want in Tony Sopranos, in Tony Sopranos, and so you are somehow isolated around the world. You live in a world alone. You live only in a world alone. This is he tries to socialize with people, or in some episodes in Tony Sopranos, you try to socialize, but you somehow cannot really break out to this, as well as you see some of it in The Wire. The Wire is really a great TV show, which really shows you the big issues of poverty, of growing up in some areas, and in some areas where you do not have really access to essential education and so on, and then you cannot. And in order, if you want to make it as a hustler, you have to be tough and so on. Some people even though they are very promising, even though they would be very successful, they cannot really make it. So this is a way different emotion. This is frustration and so on. So in that sense, you have to some sort of separate these two things very, very properly. So because even though if you only watch Game of Thrones or whatever, everyone or in a way frustration works in that way as well. If you see in the north, and if we talk about again, Jon Snow, who is who wants to go on adventure, who wants to see outside the world and so on, but somehow is trapped, whereas Daenerys, she has adventure because being married to a man, sex and so on, these are all adventures, but then she loses it all, having a child, a new family, she loses it all, and then this is the opposite, different of each other, and this is some sort of the arc which works as well. So in general, if you only watch a lot of TV shows, I talked a little bit of Batman. This is what always works well, this opposite, this hero against the villain, and this is what you see it in Game of Thrones as well as between Jon and so on, and then we will talk a little bit of Tyrion as well, this why they have to be so small, or why they have to have body impairment and so on, and we will talk about this the next time. This was Adam keep us from overdue in the pandemic in this cloudy August day. I hope that you all are doing fine and take care of yourselves. Bye.
It's finally time to start firing up the grill. From city to shore, Acme is everything you need to prep for this summer season. Download the Acme app to shop for this season's essentials any way you want. Open the Acme app, clip your deals, then order your items online. An experienced Acme associate will carefully select your groceries, bag your order, and bring it right to your car or deliver right to your door. Download the app or visit acmemarkets.com for program details.